everybody, to WTL. That stands for Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
Oh, the Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back.
Yes, we are. And now we got to wrap things up with a little NCAA round ball, a little basketball here.
With our local teams.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And we're going to start, though, with a Saturday 5 o'clock tip on ESPN. Getting back into the Big 12. Texas versus Kansas. Always a big game.
No
Kansas
doubt.
has got themselves back into the top 10, ranked 9th in the nation. 20 and 6th overall record, but they're only sitting 3rd in the Big 12 right now. Longhorns, similar record, but they're 8th in the Big 12 with a 17 and 9 record.
Yeah.
You got to think the Jayhawks are going to be a favorite here.
Yeah, for sure. I believe they're going to be a favorite. I don't think it's going to be too crazy. Maybe about 3.5 to 4 points, Andy.
Yeah.
Just because of their recent blemishes against Texas Tech and Kansas State. But Texas really put together a really good season, I believe, Andy, for the expectations for them. You look at the team stats, and they're pretty much straight across the board with Kansas.
They are, yeah.
Averaging 75 points and only allowing 67. You look at when they play top tier competition in the last 5 games, Andy, Texas losing to Houston by 21 at Houston, and then them losing at home to Iowa State by 5, really, put some red flags in my ear that says, going in against Kansas at home really doesn't fend well for Texas.
No, it doesn't. And Kansas only had, they've lost 2 of their last 4, but one was a rivalry game, so I'll give them a little bit of a pass. Yep, overtime to Kansas State. But then that shellacking they took from Texas Tech, where does that come from?
It's just weird, Andy. And it's right in between 2 top 25 wins between Oklahoma and Baylor. And, like I said, in early February, they beat one of the top teams in the nation, Houston, who's still number 2, but still has a win over them. I believe Kansas is still trying to win this conference, Andy, outright, which they're 2 games back of Houston. I believe that they can do it, and this is a huge win for them when they do it.
It would be a huge win. They get them at home, and I think they've already had a couple of scare games and a couple of losses, so they should be focused now. And both these teams, you mentioned the similarities, both these teams average 32 rebounds per game.
That's crazy.
So, you can see why things are so tight there in the middle of the Big 12.
Yeah, no, I just think Hunter Dickinson is the better rebounder in this game across the board. But I just really believe the big players for Kansas show up on Saturday and win this one over the Longhorns. Horns down.
Mikolo Jr. averaging 20 a night.
Yes, sir.
Give it to me. I like the J. Rock Chalk, whatever.
Rock Chalk.
All right, should we move on over to Sunday?
Let's do it.
All right, the 15th ranked Creighton Blue Jays. I think they might have moved up a few spots.
Number 1.
They took down.
That's right. They just took them down.
Took down number 1 UConn earlier this week, 85-66. The court was stormed. All the things. It was Mac's 600th win.
Yep.
It was Creighton's first win over our number 1 ranked opponent in program history. They were 0-6 going in. And I'll tell you what, if you're a Creighton Blue Jay fan, you have to feel really good about the fact that Baylor Sharman didn't play well.
No.
Didn't have one of his... He still had a double-double, which is crazy.
Still had a double-double.
You play bad and you still get a double-double.
But he sat most of the game.
Right.
Got early foul trouble. Kind of just looked out of sorts. But, the other guys picked him up. Like you said, it's good to see that Creighton is able to do that with Baylor playing so well up until this point.
Right.
If you have an off game, you got people like Kalkbrenner, Ashworth, Trey Alexander to pick them up and really put a shellacking on him.
Ashworth has really come alive the last 5-6 games. I think he's finding his role. He's finding his offense. And Trey Alexander, when you need a bucket, he's just
the man.
He can just create.
Mid-range GOAT.
Yep,
mid-range GOAT.
One of those dudes, hard to shut down. But you're going to it could be a letdown game here. Sneaky letdown game. St. John's 15-12 overall. They're 8th in the Big East. Big East is... They're the Big East again.
Yeah, they really are.
They beat up on each other, and they're a great basketball conference. So this is a game where, in years past, I'd really worry about Creighton in this spot.
Yeah.
This is a typical letdown, and they would do exactly that. But I felt back then they were so heavily
relying on the three.
On the three and on their offense. They would just outscore you. That's not the case. This is a team of grinders.
They're flying around.
They are. They rebound the ball well. They defend well.
Yeah.
And they could still outscore you.
No doubt. They can put up points really fast in a lot of different ways, Andy. Yeah. St. John's, like you said, really, stingy team, Andy. Just coming off a loss to Seton Hall, 68-62 at home. Only lost to Providence by 3. Only lost to UConn by 10 points earlier in the month, Andy. But no, so they can stick around with Creighton. But like you said, I just believe that this isn't a letdown spot for Creighton. I believe they come in very fired up because they really want to send a message to the Big East that they are the top dogs coming into the tournament.
Yeah, and Creighton had their woes early. The Mountain West, for whatever reasons, gave them problems earlier in the season. Almost dropped out of the rankings there. Now I feel like they've righted the ship and they know it's all business from here on out, and they can't afford to drop a game like that. So with this in mind, I think that's how all the odds makers, line makers are feeling too. You got to think Creighton, scary, but they're going to be a road favorite here.
Yeah, no, I believe they're going to be a 4 to 5 point favorite here, Andy. And I like the fact in the back of my mind, Baylor had a bad game.
Yeah.
He's going to come out firing, and I believe he's going to be hitting as well. So I look for a huge game out of Baylor Shireman and a big win for the Jays on the road.
Yeah, I mean, that's just crazy that he leads the team in scoring and rebounding.
Yeah.
And he had that off night, and they were still able to knock off the number 1 team by nearly 20 points.
No doubt about it.
Crazy.
It's very good. Don't have a letdown, Creighton. I don't believe that you will. This is going to be one of the funnest teams heading into the tournament, Andy. Couple futures I want to lay on you.
Oh, here, let's do it.
Blue Jays. Beating number 1 gets you thinking about this kind of stuff. For Creighton to make the Final Four right now is at a plus 650. You put $20 on that to return 150. And if you're getting real nuts, for Creighton to win the NCAA tournament is at a plus 3,000. Just put $5 on it. It returns you 155. So just a couple future bets that are fun to talk about.
Yep. I mean, I do like the Final Four because they were right there last year.
Yeah.
And I thought when that, a couple pieces left.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, man. And Kaluma, I thought, God, you had something there. But
we've really had people step in and really take off.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of fun watching these guys down the stretch, and I can't wait to watch them.
All right, let's talk about the Sunday nightcap on BTN. That's a 5:30 tip between the Minnesota Golden Gophers heading on over to the Pinnacle Bank Arena, where the Huskers finally got the monkey off their back Wednesday night, taking it to Indiana, beating them by 15 points, and getting that elusive road conference win.
Yeah, it's no longer 0-7 on the road in the Big Ten, Andy. It's 1-7.
That's right.
And 8-0 at home, Andy. The thing that really scares you about Minnesota is they've been an absolute wagon for bettors all year.
Yeah.
20-3 against the spread all year. That is the best in the entire nation. So you got to look at the spread. Boy. I believe this is going to be a close game, but I have to give the edge to the Nebraska Cornhuskers in the vault. This place is going to be rocking. I'm going to be there. It's going to be so much fun to welcome the Huskers back after that road win.
And I think this is a deal where, we're talking about letdown games, whether it was in the NBA, we were talking earlier, or even Creighton in years past. But Nebraska knows that they are on the bubble. They can't afford to give away a game, and they got to feel good about themselves, beating up on Indiana. Series sweep over the old Hoosiers.
Yeah, hasn't happened a lot.
It doesn't, and got that road win, and Minnesota got them earlier.
Yes,
and it
shouldn't have been.
It shouldn't have been, but you could say the same for the Illinois game.
No doubt.
Should have won that game.
Should have won that game.
So you had opportunities to get that road win, to win a couple more games in the conference.
Yeah.
Still a good season here. But this squad has a chance to do something very special, and that's to have the most wins in conference in Nebraska history.
In the Big Ten
history.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they could get up, could realistically get to 21-22 if things go their way, but you have to win at home and beat Minnesota.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Andy. And like I said, I think they're kind of frothing at the mouth to have another shot at these Golden Gophers because they believe that they should have won earlier in the season in Minnesota. And I just believe that our team has been so much better in late game situations and just closing out games than they were early in the season.
Look at Wednesday night.
Exactly.
Indiana went on that huge run in the second half.
Everybody knew they would.
Erased a 20-point deficit, got within 3, and then from then on out, I think Nebraska went on a 14-1 or 13-0 run of their own.
Yep.
But their backs are against the wall. They're in a hostile environment, and they figured it out.
Exactly.
They got a little grit to them.
Got a little grit to them, Andy. And the same point that I was making about Baylor Shireman in Creighton, Ranked Mass had not a very good game against the Hoosiers. I believe we try to get him the ball in the post against these Golden Gophers and get him a high point total. I believe Mass is going to carry us to victory, and especially if those guys shoot from 3 like they did against Indiana, we got this game.
Oh, Mass, looking at the numbers, he still leads the team in assists and rebounds, pulling in 8 boards a game. How about this Elijah Hawkins guy for the Gophers, averaging 8 assists a game? The distributor.
Yeah, no, they have a very good team, Andy. It doesn't show by the record, but they're 7-7 in conference play, which is very hard to do in the Big Ten, like we were just alluding to.
Yes,
so,
it is.
So
a little bit of a toss-up, but you're leaning Huskers.
I'm leaning Huskers. If they just the way that the Minnesota Golden Gophers have been 20-3 against the spread, they're not going to give us a wide spread on this because of that point. So I have a 1.5 to 2 point line for the Nebraska Huskers. I believe we cover. I believe the vault. We protect the vault.
Defend home. Yep. Defend home. I don't think anyone could argue with that.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's been the name of the game, right?
It has been the name of the game. That place is going to be rocking. I can't wait to be in there with the Sea of Red on Sunday night.
All righty. Well, you heard the horn. That means we're up against it. And you know what? How about do it for us this week?
It will.
So be sure to follow us on ESPN Tri-City Radio and their Facebook page. We're always putting up short little videos on the Reels. They call it Reels now.
Reels.
Is that's what it is? We also got a little Twitter handle going on, giving out picks pretty much every day over the weekend.
For sure. You
Multiple
have to.
picks.
Primetime games.
And our YouTube channel continues to grow. YouTube Shorts, our feature length, all that good stuff. Please subscribe, click those notifications, all that good stuff.
Yeah, please check out our YouTube page. It's very fun. Like you said, we're putting out shorts, full-length video for our podcast. It's a lot of fun. Please give us a subscribe. Give us a like. Also, check us out on TikTok. I got primetime games every night of the week, pretty much, at WTL Sports Betting. Please check us out on TikTok and YouTube.
Those YouTube shorts, we're on a heater with those. I think we've hit like 4 out of the last 5 bets that I've put on YouTube.
No doubt.
Shorts, so there you go.
We only put our best bets out on that stuff. So, yes, check us out.
For Jabron, the Parlay Pounder, I'm Andy Klassen. Thank you for listening. This has been WTL.